Oh, this one's going to get booed out of the court, I can imagine, but hey ho, here we go. Test subject. Weirdly, for those minuscule seconds that perfect in sync is active, it weirdly does have a very much lower TTK than beloved FAMAS. It won't out DPS it. We don't care about DPS anymore on this channel, simply because I've explained that this game doesn't seem to understand the difference between DPS and TTK. They should coincide. More DPS means you kill things quicker. In this game, that is not the case. DPS is a complete lie. So you should lean more towards TTK, and despite the fact that FAMAS does actually have insanely low TTK is good, FAMAS does have low TTK. For the 5 seconds that test subject has perfect in sync active, the TTK is a lot lower, which means we can compensate in certain areas. And I have designed this build, mwahaha. It's probably not the first time someone's done this, but probably the first time with the test subject, because everyone else just seems to think the test subject is trash. This is quite a tanky-ish build. We've got like 3 blues, 1 yellow, because we're using Memento. Tier 4 shield, still utilising Gunner because of the armour regen, plus with Memento for more, armour on kill, plus Memento for the armour regen. We end up being quite survivable and tanky, and we're also going to be utilising a weird skill which allows us to manoeuvre and get around and do some weird stuff. But then, as with every build, this has its pros and cons. You suck at long range. Simply just because of the handling of test subject, which also brings it into a second negative, which is the handling. So many times I'll be like, "Yo, I've reloaded. I know I've reloaded. I've pressed the reload button, and no, I haven't reloaded. I've not given it enough time." It's kind of a bit of a concern at times. However, we do some pretty decent-ish damage, despite the fact that we are running like 3 blues. Kind of works. It's almost akin to a PvP build, but we use it in PvE. And you have the absolute plus side of being very, very aggressive with your play, because you can either tank it, out DPS it, or you can CC it because of the certain skills we're running. Although this probably would be a pretty damn good build for a beginner, it does require some serious grind, as well as, in order to utilize it absolutely correctly, you kind of need to know the maps. So yeah, although beginner friendly, it's not, which is interesting. But here we are. Now, some of you may have noticed that we have removed our beloved Reviver Hive. It's simply because, weirdly, depending on your actual overall armour, would you like to know what the 3rd best heal in the game actually is? The first being just the chem launcher. The chem launcher is stupid when it comes to the reinforcement chem launcher specifically is stupid. The healing hive takes 2nd place. Quite obvious, really, simply because when you're running a healing build, you typically run either you will run the healing hive with BTSU gloves, but your other skill tends to be the chem launcher, unless you do some weird crazy stuff like I do. But still, the 3rd best heal in the game, and I actually can't believe I'm saying this, is the minigun. provided you utilize it correctly and you don't take too much damage while doing it. Bloody blah. There's a load of caveats, but yeah, you can literally go from 0 health to max health in 100 bullets, because each shot landed will give you 1% armor regen. So 100 shots, 100%. Ta-da! Quick math. But obviously you potentially will be taking damage. This is why it gives you a 50% overshield. So building for armor on a minigun, not too bad. Although it actually can do some pretty hefty damage, it's kind of mostly not really worth it. But we are in this relying on minigun to heal, which is a bit different, I suppose. And it also means we can swap out our second skill, which would typically be Reviver Hive, for something a bit more CC based. Doesn't work all the time, it's not the greatest, but it allows us to maneuver, get around, as well as, because although we do have a good chunk of armor, we are not the tankiest thing going. We are still quite a bit on the old squish, depending on how much is deciding to slap us. But that's also why we run Memento. Bit more armor regen. Overall, the build actually does work really well, and it's probably one of my go-to builds on my second character, because this is my second character. And yeah, it just works. It's not the highest DPS, it's not the best tanking, but it is a very solid middle ground. And most importantly, for me at least, with running a build like this, it just feels safe. Like, I can afford to play casually, make a few mistakes, screw up here and there. It is completely worth it in heroic. It does okay in legendary. Definitely not solo, but sort of like in a team. You've got just enough to be able to survive a hit or two while being able to put out some pretty decent-ish DPS. If you can get someone running future with it, does even better. Anyway, let's have a quick gander at the damage. So with max memento stacks, we're hitting about 500,000. As soon as we can proc perfect in sync, we hit 700,000. This is with 3 blues, remember. Just to show off a little bit of the old healing from the minigun. I don't have the a full mag, but yeah, look at that. Pretty damn good, right? Again, it's circumstantial. Anyway, the build, test subject. Damage to targets that are cover, perfect in sync, pretty self-standard. When we are in a pinch, we can and we do swap to Emmeline's Guard, just because we're using armor and memento for survivability, so being able to get that armor back is pretty useful. Regulus needs no introduction. Providence Defense Mask, we've rolled the call to blue, crit chance, crit damage. Providence Defense Chest with Obliterate, crit chance, crit damage. Go us. We are running Obliterate. You don't have to run Obliterate though, you can use whatever you want. Unbreakable, maybe, potentially, and then this could double up as a makeshift PvP build if you wanted. Trauma, bloody blah. Providence Defense Holster, crit chance, crit damage. Fox's Prayer, roll to armor with crit chance. Grupo Gloves with weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, and our lovely Memento backpack, which just generally really helps out the entire build with weapon damage, armor regen, and skill efficiency. Anyway, that just about does it for this build. I actually really do recommend this. It's been great fun testing this out, but in the meantime, have fun, good luck, and don't die. It's bad for the health.